Hi, this is Lance Edwards, and welcome to this session of Apartment Wealth Nuggets. We're broadcasting to you today from my office. I got Louise behind the camera, doing this, and so welcome to this session of Apartment Wealth Nuggets. And in this session, I want to talk about why the competition is so low in small apartments. And this is actually an excerpt from my book, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. And this is actually covered in Chapter 3, which you can find on page 47 of your book, How to Make Big Money in Small Apartments. But the fact of the matter is the competition is very low in small apartments, certainly in comparison to the single family space where everyone's very familiar with that. And I want to explain to you why the competition is so low in small apartments, because it has to do with some of the limiting beliefs that are in people's minds. And I want to make sure none of these limiting beliefs are lurking in your head, because if they are, you're very likely disqualifying yourself from getting started in small apartments, and unnecessarily. Because the fact of the matter is, you're qualified to get started right now, just as everyone is. So let's do some myth busting. Let's expose these limiting beliefs, what they are. The first limiting belief that many people have that keeps them from getting started in small apartments is the notion or belief that they have to graduate from single family into multifamily. They think they need to do a few house deals, and once they've done that, they, quote, graduate into apartments. Well, let me just bust that up. There is no graduation ceremony. My very first deal was a fourplex that I bought, a small apartment deal. Most of my students, when they're doing their first small apartment deal, it's their first real estate deal of any kind. So there's no graduation. You just simply need to make the decision to get started. It's really, there's no more to it than that. So let's just divorce ourselves from this whole idea that we need to graduate. If you're, by the way, if you're doing houses right now, obviously keep doing that. But I would encourage you to check out adding small apartments as another revenue stream. On the other hand, if you're just getting started, I say start with small apartments. The second limiting belief that keeps people from getting started in small apartments, what also keeps the competition so low, is that many people think they don't have the cash or the credit to buy these apartment buildings. They don't have the financial resources. And this is a big one. And it's a very logical one, because most people are taught that the way you buy real estate is you go to the bank, put down a large down payment of cash, put yourself through a very invasive exam with regards to your credit, and if you pass all those hurdles, then the bank may begrudgingly give you some money. Well, that's one way to buy real estate. It's not the way that we buy real estate. We buy real estate, specifically small apartment buildings, using other people's money, other people's credit. It's the whole business of being an entrepreneur. It's about getting things done through other people's resources. Now, in separate Apartment Wealth Nuggets, I talk about where those money sources are going to come from, but I'll tell you real quickly, many times they're going to come from your seller, and for any cash requirements you have, it's going to come from a self-directed IRA lender. Those two are how I got my start. Actually, through those two sources, I was able to retire within 3 years. So you're going to be using other people's money on all these transactions. Even when you have your own money, I encourage you to use other people's money, because it gives you far greater leverage. There's no scale, there's no limitation on how fast you can scale. So you don't need any cash or credit. The third limiting belief that people have that keeps them from getting started in small apartments, they say, well, I don't want to deal with tenants and toilets. Hey, guess what? Neither do I. If I had to deal with tenants and toilets, I wouldn't be in this business. And the way you're going to address that is you hire management companies, professional management companies that do this for a living. Now, I'm talking about companies. I'm not talking about someone who's doing management on the side to make a few extra bucks. No, management companies that manage a few hundred doors for many of their clients, and they have an exclusive focus on managing apartment buildings. You're going to seek out these professional management companies. They deal with the tenants and toilets. Your job becomes not that of property manager, your job becomes that of asset manager, managing the managers. And with this, you can have your assets all over the country, your apartment buildings all over the country, with professional management companies, and you're managing your business. Those are the three limiting beliefs. That's why the competition is so low. Hopefully I've dispelled all of those in your mind, and so you now firmly realize that you're qualified to get started in small apartments right now, today. Until our next session, this is Lance Edwards with Apartment Wealth Nuggets. Take care.